in our life. So, with your blessings, I would like to start today's session, sir.
So, Namaskaram, Shri, and thank you for being me on this, maybe, I don't know whether this is an interview or, but in this session, basically. So, really feeling, privileged to be a part of this particular session. And yes, whatever you said, the inspiration, maybe. So, thank you for all this valuable feedbacks. And it's my pleasure always when it comes to yoga, how to impart the classical form of yoga to people. That's what, even I'm trying to do this. Thank you.
Sir, the first question is, what were you doing before taking up yoga, and why did you decide to become a Hatha Yoga teacher?
Oh. What I was doing before yoga, see, basically I'm a mechanical engineer. I graduated from Nitte College, Nitte NMA MIT, Nitte, which is near Padubudri or near Karkala. In the year 2003, since then I've been working in different three different industries, especially automobile industries, and the last being, it was in the major portion of my professional career was in Toyota Kirloskar Motor, which is in Bangalore, and I was there almost for 10 years. And yes, this was my previous, background before coming to yoga. Why I choose this particular yoga as my profession and service? There are quite a number of reasons to this. One thing is, just I was looking for some solution because wherever I see, I could only see problems. Maybe with me, with people around me, or about the situations. Wherever I see, I could only see the problems. But I was not knowing the solution, what to do. And I was always looking at how to improve others. I was not, really thinking about improving myself basically, but how to fix the solutions with outside, not with this. So, when I was in such a situation, I was just looking for the platforms or solutions where I can find these things. Initially, I started, my planning was just to do some kind of, some course so that I can impart on people, especially in terms of discipline, in terms of respect for people and things like that. So later, later I thought, like for some reason, I thought that because I was a kind of overweight at some point of time, after a certain age, I was kind of reaching almost 93, 94 kilos at one point. And at that time, I just thought, okay, before fixing outside situations, let me just fix my weight. So maybe because for this particular thing, I'm having more issues. So let me just bring my weight down. That was my the thing towards me. And when I started looking for solutions, yeah, everywhere so many solutions. Zumba, yoga, exercise, aerobics. So yoga was also one of the thing which I came across when I was looking for a solution. And as a few of my friends and others suggested to take up this yoga, weight reduction yoga is there. Then I thought, okay, let me just Google it out, and or I just was going through this YouTube, and I could find a few YouTube yogas where specifically to reduce weight, and in fact I did it almost for 5 to 6 months. I think I did the weight reduction yoga, because of which I think I could reduce a little bit of weight from 94, I think around 88. I could come because of the YouTube yoga. But still, somewhere, things started. For me, cravings started because when I was looking more about yoga, that's the time when I started, really watching or happened to get the Sadhguru's videos. Till then I was not aware about Sadhguru or Isha Foundation or anything about, for that matter. And then, since then, whatever Sadhguru was speaking, so in terms of problems, solutions, and yoga, I thought like somewhere the wavelength is matching. whatever he is speaking, and whatever I am looking for. So I thought like, he's having some kind of solution. Then I started looking into more yoga, the videos, especially Sadhguru videos, and where I could find a range of topics where Sadhguru was speaking. Then really I felt, something is there with Sadhguru. So I have to do some kind of program with the Isha Foundation. That's how I enrolled for inner engineering, the basic program. And in 2000, I think 16, no, 2000, it was in 2015. So I did the inner engineering. And because, I was looking for more bending and twisting kind of yoga. So I enrolled once again for a 2000, you know, 16 8-day program in the ashram where I happened to see this advertisement about the 8-day program which was happening in the ashram, Hatha Yoga program. So I enrolled for that. After doing this, I continuously practiced for almost 2 months. That really shook me, and both physically, not only physically, from oral point of view, I started finding out like there is something here in this Hatha Yoga. So that's how I decided my quitting the job, because as I said, I was looking for a solution for me as well as people around me. So I just thought, that time I came to know there is a 5-month program, teachers training program, and that's how I landed up there. Because I knew that, if I can master this in some way, for me as well as I can even impart this, tools of yoga to others as well. So that's why I just decided to quit the job and take up this Isha Hatha Yoga in 2016. That's it. Thank you.
It's really a great thing for us that you are there for us. Somebody is there to teach yoga because everybody can't go there, and that's a great advantage for us. And thank you very much for that, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
Sir, next question is
Yeah.
any difference do you find at the level of your body and in your mind before and after practicing yoga? So you have experience of both. So if you have to compare it and tell, please tell, sir.
The difference, before and after yoga, yes, of course, huge difference. As I said before, physically, yes, I was very, I was basically a, foodie before. So because I used to eat, all kinds of things, and I was having almost five meals a day, not even three. I was that kind of a person, always eating, and maybe that's one of the reasons why I started putting on weight, after a certain age. And so at some stage of my life, I felt, overweight is one of the, issue with me. And also, um, it's not only overweight. Because of this weight, I started feeling that, even psychologically, I'm getting kind of stressed out, burdensome, getting for tension for small things, becoming hyper for small things. So somewhere I thought like even psychologically also I'm kind of deviating from who I was. Basically, I was not such a person, and so all these things started kind of disturbing me. At some point, something has to be done for this. And then literally, as I said, I started doing this yoga, and especially after doing this Isha yoga, within 2 to 3 months, I could feel a drastic change, especially the way I was, the psychological level, these are small things, becoming tension or getting hyper for small things. These issues slowly started, coming down within me. And also, I could feel some kind of ease within me. I don't know, some things started a little bit getting opened up. I cannot explain in what sense, but yeah, physically also I started losing weight, and also as I said, physically, psychologically also, I started a little bit getting better, and that's why I just thought like only 8 days of practice and 8 days of learning and continuously 2 3 months of practice, if that could do this much with me. Now, if I do this continuously for a few months, then I could imagine, where I will be. So that's how, that's, looking at these changes, I made up my mind to quit the job and come to this after. Then it's a history then, after doing yoga from 93 or even 87 for that matter, weight, if you want to compare, physically I lost almost 20 kilos. Now I am maintaining it 70 for the last 4 years in terms of, weight. And I literally feel that I have gone back almost 10 years back, in terms of weight, in terms of, my whatever, the psychologically, the emotional balance, and also energetically, I'm very much up. So after yoga. So that's it. Thank you.
Sir, another great thing is like everybody tells, even I have heard that if you're doing yoga, then you should not get angry. So, is it true? And what is it with you, sir? Do you get angry? And if you get angry, how do you manage it?
Okay. So I don't know. I don't think, if you are doing yoga, you should not get angry or you will not get angry. I don't think that's, how you should approach. Yes, of course, even angry, anybody can get angry. Even you are getting angry, even I am getting angry. But the thing is, the way you react once you go to that anger state. Anger is a certain state of your, being or your mind, maybe you can say, or energies. But when you go to that particular angry stage, the way how you respond, that is more important. So that, I could feel that before yoga and after yoga, we have I have a big difference with respect to that, how I respond. Because before I used to react, simply maybe when I get angry, I used to shout, either maybe at my kid or at my wife or if my colleagues, yeah, whoever is there in front of me, I used to yell at them before. Maybe after I feel like, I just got the mechanics of this angry, why this angry is happening and, what are the basics of this anger. Once I knew this and also along with the yogic practices, I could say that now I can, it's a choice for me. I can yell at, if, at somebody if I want. Otherwise, also I can be, simply be. So that's a choice that you can exercise after practicing yoga. So that, that freedom you can have with yoga. It's not that you will not get angry. So how you respond. For example, from compulsive reaction to conscious response. So that's what the big change, I could feel before and after yoga in terms of angry. That's it.
Sir, next question is do you often get confused in making decisions? And how do you decide at that point of time?
See, decision making, yes, of course, it's a very challenging thing always. But for me, I look at the situation. That's it. What is the priority, and in terms of thinking about what I like or I don't like. That's for most people that for people keep this as a criteria to decide. What I like, what I don't like. So all these things, there are different criteria how to take the decisions. So for me, I don't take decisions based on my likes or dislikes. I take decisions based on the requirement of the situation. So whatever it is. So I just prioritize a few things, any activity or any thing for that matter. What's the priority for that particular moment? Then based on that, I take the decision. But once I take the decision, once again I just stick to it, whatever it is. So that's it. So decision taking is not a difficult thing for me. Uh, it has become an art for me. Yeah.
So another thing is like sometimes it happens to me. If I'm sitting, I just get lost into thoughts, and I'm not in the present moment. Is like what to say. So does it happen to you? Do you often get lost into thoughts? Like some thoughts are coming here and there. Something is happening in the mind, and I'm just flowing with that. So does that happen to you, sir?
Yes, of course, it happens, with me because what you call as thought, initially also I was just thinking, this so much of thoughts coming into the mind and what shall I do with these thoughts before even I was in the same boat as you are now. But after that, once again, getting some kind of a basic understanding as to what a thought is. See, Sadhguru always says that thought is just it's a kind of a something a play which is happening in your mind. In the sense, see, the job of your mind is just to generate thoughts, various thoughts, and this thought is happening because Sadhguru says, whatever the impressions that we have based on the five senses, by seeing, by look, by smelling, by hearing, by tasting, or by touching. These are the five senses through which we accumulate our, impressions. So all these things are getting impressed, getting into your mind in some or the other way. Some of these things are, in your um, in your consciousness. What are the sound that you hear? If you like some sound, I'm just going back to the mechanics of thought. That's why before answering the question. So what is a thought basically? Thought is nothing but it's a play of whatever the impressions that you get from outside. So the basic thing of a mind or basic job of a mind is thinking only. As your heart does a heartbeat, you don't do anything, right? Heart is beating by itself. You don't do the conducting consciously the functions of a kidney. Kidney does its own functions by itself. Similarly, the function of a mind is to generate thoughts. But the only thing is how much you are identified with that thought. So we'll decide whether that will entangle you, or whether that will bother you, or whether it will it becomes you can be free of these thoughts. So the only thing is how identified you are with these thoughts. So thought process is not a big thing here. So being at the moment also what you said, because we think more about our future. So, for example, what will happen to me tomorrow? What will happen to me after 5 years? What will happen to me after 10 years? How will be my career? How will be my job? How will be my profession, family? All these things we keep on thinking about these things, and because of this, even after we can see this in the society, after even after 40 or 50, people are worried about their future. Now you being around 18 or 19 or even in your 20s, you are also worried about your future. Once you get your job, once you get your all the basic things settled in your life, still people are thinking about future. After people who are at 45 or 50 or 55, what will be my future? So then looking at this thing, I thought this is really bullshit. Bullshit in the sense, there is no meaning talking about future. Now once you drop that particular thing, what about me in the future? Then naturally, being at the moment, becomes apparent and inevitable. Now if I see, how I am, that's okay. If I conduct well this particular, today or this moment, that's okay. I don't think much about my future. So maybe that's one of the reasons why I set myself free about the thought process and getting identified with the thought process. I just live by the day. That's it.
And another important thing is clarity, focus, and concentration. How has yoga helped you to improve these three things in your life, sir?
See, clarity, focus, and concentration. Basically, all these are there. That's what Sadhguru says. As a child, for example, up to a certain age, all these things are there. The more you get distracted, for example, the more you engage yourself with outside activities, the more you will get distracted. That means you will lose your focus, concentration, and things like that. So the only way how you can improve this thing is you turn inward. In the sense, you focus on inward rather than focusing on the activities on your outside. You just turn focus on the activities inside. In the sense, for example, see when you start doing yoga, any yogic practice for that matter, Yoga basically brings a certain stability and balance to your system. Once there is a certain stability and balance to your system, now, whatever you do, whatever you think, whatever you act, there is some kind of meaning and a sense. Otherwise, what will happen is, if there is no balance, if there is no stability, which is a basic platform, without balance, you cannot act in the world. If you are acting without balance, whatever the actions, whatever the results will be also, unclear and unfocused and things like that. So bringing a certain balance and stability is the basic thing of any yogic practice. So when you practice yoga, once these things are ready, that is, once there is a certain balance, once there is a certain steadiness in your system, now whatever you see, things will be clear, much more clear than when you are not in a balanced state, than when you are not in a steady state. So once the things are clear, you can see things clearly. Then whatever accordingly focusing on what is needed becomes inevitable. So because the things are not clear, or you are not able to see the things clearly, then all this things confusion comes. When confusion is there, then obviously there is no focus, there is no concentration. So the first and most important thing is, yogic practices are mainly focused upon bringing a certain balance and stability, so that you become clear about the activity or situation around you. Once you are clear, you can focus on what is required and not required. So these are this linkage.
So next question is, how is the control over your own emotions and feelings?
See, once again, I think it's not that something to worry about the control of your emotions or feelings. As I said, just in continuation to the previous question, if there is a certain balance in our emotional structure, Sadhguru always says that there are four aspects to your what we call as a human being. So the first is the physical body. The second level is the psychological structure or mental body. The third one is your emotional structure, and the fourth one is energy. Now, when you do any yoga practices, especially certain yoga practices, when you do, for example, if you do Surya Kriya, there is a practice called a Surya Kriya. Now, when you do Surya Kriya, not only physical, stability comes, whereas because it's a Kriya, which means it's an inward process, it brings a certain overall balance within your system. Say, for example, psychological balance or emotional balance is naturally set in when you do this Surya Kriya practice, because that's how it has been designed. It's not designed to bring some emotional balance, or it's not designed to bring your psychological balance. Whereas it sets a few things within yourself right. So in terms of restructuring of the energy system. So when this restructuring happens, naturally, as a secondary, or as a side effect, or as a secondary benefit, balance, your psychological balance, emotional balance happens in a big way. So it's not that you control emotions or you control your thought process. There is no point in controlling these things. You just bring a certain balance and build a certain steady platform in your body, mind, and things. Naturally, everything will be controlled. No need to worry about the controlling, otherwise.
Yes, sir. And next question is, what is the worst experience of your life that has made you cry?
What is the worst experience of my life? Mm. Which made me cry? I don't remember any such instance which made me cry. I don't remember actually. There are experiences, so yeah, good or bad, but which made me cry, I don't remember any experience. Maybe in my childhood days, so some experience would have happened. So where yeah, in childhood days, but not in the recent times. But this I'm talking about when I was in 10th standard. Where I used to play tabla in my childhood, and for right from I think fifth standard onwards till ninth standard, I was one of the main tabla players for our this thing. What is that? School day functions. whatever the group music or whatever the event, cultural event used to happen, I was one of the tabla player among in the group. But when it came to 10th standard, because our was a CBSE, our school was a CBSE school, and ours was unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, first batch, to be passed out from that particular school. So everybody were focusing upon our, the students of 10th standard, and they said, you this year, no, nobody will be participating in any of the cultural events. And I think that was one of the saddest moments because so far till ninth standard I was very active in sports, very active in cultural activities, all those things. But suddenly this year, no sports, no cultural activity, only studies. I think that particular moment was one of the worst moments for me. Yeah, that's it.
So, and what is the happiest experience till now?
Happiest there are many. Happiest there are many. After graduating, one of my dream was to get into an automobile company because automobile was one of my fascinating subjects. Though my engineering, subject was mechanical, and one subject was there as an automobile, engine. It's a subject, not as a department. So ever since I started knowing something about this automobile, one of my dream was to get into an automobile company, into a job. So after my graduation, I got selected in a through a campus interview. I got selected into a company, which unfortunately was not an automobile company. It was a foundry basically. So I worked there in Calicut, Kerala for 1 year almost, and because that thing was there in my mind, I want to go to an automobile company. So I quit the job without getting any job. The second job, I just quit the job after 1 year. Went to Bangalore in search of an automobile job. Then waited for 6 months almost without any job, and later I went into automotive a company, IFB, and after working there, one fine day I got a call from Toyota, saying that from HR department saying that they're looking for a engineer new trainees and your resume is matching. And that was one of the happiest moments for me because as I said, I did not apply for Toyota, nor I was dreaming, especially in Toyota also, but some automobile company. That's what I was just looking for. Without my, application or without me being applying for the job, one fine day I'm getting a call from, I don't know from where did they get the resume or the thing, but that I find till find that that's one of the most happiest moments. Getting a call, job offer call from it's not job offer, at least interview call from a automobile giant like Toyota. What else you need? So yeah, everything after that, since then it was a history once again. Everything went smooth. Got cleared into the interview. I got into automobile company Toyota. Through Toyota, I could go to Japan. That was also one of the happiest moments. I was there with my family 1 year in Japan, working for Toyota. So it's later I could call my parents also almost for 1.5 months. So these are a few happy moments, cherishing memories. I could say yes.
Sir, the last but one question. What activities are you making what activities are you carrying out to make yourself better each day?
Uh, there is no special activity as such, but I mainly focus upon my practices. I see to it that I do practices, Hatha yoga practices almost daily basis. Unless it is that kind of a situation where classes are more and for some reason I'm not able to do some practices. But where I'm in a hospital, but still I see to it that I do these practices. See, that's the only thing what I realized that If you are with the practices on a regular basis, things can change in a miraculously different, way, the beyond your imagination. That's what is happening with me, and I could say that for the last 4 to 5 years, maybe with the regular practices, is what I'm just focusing upon, just to keep me going. That's it. If I don't do practice for say 1 week, then I'm done. So it's again I'll be going back to almost 1 to 2 years, and so I don't do any extra activities as such. As I'm saying, I do practice. Either if there's no class, I do practice in the morning and evening. If there is class, still I try to do this practice as either by both or at least one time, either the morning or evening. Whenever I get free time, yes, I go to beach because I'm staying in Mangalore. I go to beach. Beach is one of my favorite destinations where I want to be, either alone or with the family or whatever. So yeah, that's it.
So the last question is, what is the coolest thing of being a Hatha Yoga teacher? Like it's cool, this in a dialogue. So being a Hatha Yoga teacher, what is the coolest thing of being you?
See, being how you are, it's not about being a Hatha Yoga teacher. As I said, once you maintain your practices regularly, and then if you are just if you be, that itself is the coolest thing. As I said, I know I really have experienced the true essence of what this Hatha Yoga practice can bring into you. As I said, if I lose these practices even for a few days continuously, 1 or 2 or 3 days, then definitely I feel like something is missing and I'm going backwards and things like that. So the coolest thing is just to be that So there is nothing. Even if you are alone, I don't feel lonely. Even if you are in a company, I don't feel irritated. So maybe this is one of the wonders or magic which Hatha Yoga has done to me, and can be in this coolly in any situations, either be alone or in a crowd. So otherwise, because before I used to hate crowds. I was not a person who allowed crowds. If I go to a crowd or if I be in a function, then I was just feeling kind of irritations before, and I just wanted to be lonely. And even sometimes lonely also started irritating me later. But now, as I said, just being alone makes you feel cool. So that's the magic of Hatha Yoga.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you very much. And there is a lot to learn from you from this interview as well as otherwise also. So with this, I would like to thank you very much and end here.
Yeah, so thank you for, and as I heard that you're saying this your first interview, and hope this goes well with you and with your whatever the channel that you are starting. And I should thank you also because these are the few platforms through which we can make people understand what a yoga means. Otherwise, there is a general understanding about yoga means only for those who are, in their 50s and 60s. When they become, incapable by some means, people think that now I should start doing yoga. Generally, especially in the youth, this is a thought that if you are capable, then you should not do yoga. Or, in other words, people also say that if you say I'm doing yoga, then people ask you, what incapability do you have? Or that's understanding. So this through this platforms, I just want to convey the message that yoga is not a disability. Yoga is action and empowerment. So if you start doing yoga, you start knowing yourself in a better way. Once you start knowing yourself in a better way, when I say yourself, maybe physically, once again psychologically, your emotional balance, all these things. Once there's a certain clarity and stability to these factors, whatever you wish to do in your life, you can do effortlessly. So based on the need basis, you can take the decisions and things like that. Right now, what is happening is in each step, each and every step, people are confused and people are stressed out because of not knowing what to do. So all these confusions will be erased out. So this particular message I just want to convey, especially to the youth. So yoga is not a disability. Yoga is actually an empowerment. The earlier you do yogic practices, the better you will feel and you can experience life. That's it. So thank you once again for arranging this platform. And I wish you could do this many more um, similar things where we can spread some positive kind of messages in the society. Yeah, all the best for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.